This content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper Goren Holm or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
Hey everyone, it is me. We are here. Joseph is here too. Say hi, Joseph.
Hey, what's up?
Boom, boom, boom. We're recording.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
I am recording this on the computer now.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Boom. All right. It says it's recording. Boom, 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 boom. I am apparently recording.
The entire bottle of control. They're all exactly the same.
Crypto art, and then what it really is an NFT.
Wow. Eddie wants to slap the bag.
So this is the next best thing.
DeFi is going to be a bubble.
It's provably scarce.
With Mad Dog.
Crypto, gold, and silver.
Transparent substance.
Take my money, start a war with it.
Without further ado.
Cheers to you, brother.
Get shit done.
Because the system has to collapse before that.
Cheers, I feel much better now.
Cheers.
Wow, that was heavy.
Boom. We are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to another week of Blockchain and Booze. I actually didn't check. I think, if I remember correctly, we're number 87. Number 87? 79? I'm seeing 79. I totally maybe reverse numbers from last time. I don't know. But number 79, if I'm checking correctly, which is really, really epic. Thank you, everyone in the community that's online. I'm seeing a ton of you in the chats already. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really excited because we've got some return guests, we've got some old friends, and we've got a new guest who I sort of kind of threw under the bus last week, which is how he got on the show. So it's going to be pretty fun. But Becky, Shiv, Eric, welcome to the show. Oh shit! I just left my drink back there. Cheers.
Boom.
Boom. Uh-oh, Shiv dropped. He'll be back, I'm sure. We'll throw him on the screen. But guys, welcome to another episode of Blockchain and Booze. We've been talking NFTs nonstop lately, and we have a little announcement to make because Draper Goren Holm, just before we jump in, has had Blockchain and Booze now for almost 2 years, right? So long that I'm forgetting what episode it is. And we've invested in companies we've met doing this. We've hired people that we met through this. Our companies have hired people. It's just so much fun that this thing turned into what it is today, that a few of the crew are actually coming together. Adele corrected me, 79. A few of the crew are coming together and doing an NFT drop right now and starting a little thing called NFT Family. So the first drop is actually going to happen a week from today. We're going to have Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park on the show, and he might be a part of the drop in some cool way. But check this out. Boring Stone magazine drop is happening October 5th. We'll tell you more about it next time. Oh, here's a cool picture of my original one with the stack of Boring Stones. But anyway, it's going to be awesome. We're going to give there's going to be a few Easter eggs, and we're going to be giving love to Fame Lady Squad, which Ashley is a part of, and Shiv's company is actually helping make it happen. So it's going to be a ton of fun, but it's kind of a community effort. The first community generative NFT drop that we're doing. It's going to be rad. But anyways, why don't we go through our guests, because way cooler than I am, and do some introductions. Ashley, why don't you start first?
Ashley, I'm also known as Boredbecky on Twitter and many places in the Discord. Becky's my ape, so she's my little persona, but I'm also the smart contract owner for Fame Lady Squad. So for those of you who may not know, we're the community take back project, and we're pretty excited about what Fame Lady Squad's doing right now. So yeah, that's me, and I'm sitting in a hotel right now doing total double duty in real life, and now all the responsibilities that come with NFTs, which includes beer.
That's right. It helps. Eric, last week we kind of we mentioned the people's potato when we were talking about spam and NFTs, and because I found those NFTs in my wallet but didn't know where they came from. So you are behind that. So we're gonna ask you about that in a bit. But first, tell us about yourself. And by the way, I like your Apple. That's an Apple. Which is that? I used to have an Apple IIe.
That's a Mac Classic 2, but it's called a Macintosh Performa 2.0. It was just rebranded elsewhere, but it's been modded to have a new LCD screen. And when we were considering trash art displays, which, I'm a part of the trash art community, I was trying to figure out a really cool way to display my collection. And so I just modded that. But I'm Eric Paul Rhodes. I go by the pseudonym Second Realm in the space. I've been an NFT artist. And I'm an artist my entire life, but an NFT artist since mid 2019. I don't know. Let's see. I helped create the trash art movement and the alt punk movement. So that's really what I'm all about, pushing those boundaries.
So cool. Thanks for joining us, Eric. And Shiv, I've known now for probably like 4 or 5 years. It's weird to say about somebody you met in the crypto space, but Shiv, let Shiv tell his background. Shiv, go.
Yeah, I was a founder of Block Party 2017. It was an NFT ticketing company. Kind of ran that for a while, and then we pivoted into an NFT marketplace 2019. And then I spun out a company called Moonwalk, which does NFTs again, but we're doing more NFT utility and generative collections now. So I've been able to wrangle Elon into creating his own generative collection, which we've been back and forth on the phone for the last couple of weeks, just like figuring out how to do everything. But we met Alan I was speaking at a couple of different crypto invest summit conferences since 2018, and so we've had a lot of history together.
It's fun. It is funny when you start going back and realizing like, oh man, like at the time. I don't know. Like, I think when you're in certain things, it feels like either you're way too early or like it's finally going to happen. But even when you feel it's finally going to happen, when you're really, really early, in hindsight, it's like even crazier. So to think 2017 NFT ticketing, like today, it's insanely early and still kind of a stretch to think it's going to be adopted by mainstream in a short period of time. But it's finally happening now, right? So how many years early were you when it came to that stuff? Is pretty wild. I don't know. It's if you start looking at the people in the chat and looking at what we have going on and where NFTs are with Top Shots and some things like that, starting to get mainstream, but it's still so early. So Eric, I want to hear the saga for everybody in the community that's watching. We got a bunch in the chat and a bunch watching on Lunar Crush Live. Oh, by the way, Lunar Crush Live is where we're streaming. Thank you to Blockchain Radio. Like half of the episodes, I forget to mention Blockchain Radio, and they are amazing. They restream these all week long, and so if you listen to Blockchain Radio, you get these there, and they're awesome. Pierre, who runs it, is a rad dude, and I appreciate them a lot. So Eric, last week I mentioned the people's potato. I said, like, what the hell? Like, I started going through like below the fold old stuff in my crypto wallet, and I was just like, what is this people's potato thing? And I used it as some silly example of spam, but I was corrected in the Twitter threads, like how real and cool of a project it is. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted you on this week, so you could tell us about it, and so that we could all nerd out on some old school fun stuff.
Yeah,
old school being a year or two ago.
Oh yeah, 2020. It feels like it's been forever. I mean, so the people's potato was really a response to the discussion of scarcity and rarity. And at the time, we're talking mid 2020. So we didn't have any of the 10K PFP projects. They were just not around at this point. So a lot of the focus was on art and fine art and digital art, and bringing in tradesmen from game design and other things like that, and introducing them to this world, this new marketplace and this ecosystem where they could take their trade and actually earn money from their trade, which and be an artist, right? And at the time, there were a lot of, I'll be kind, there were a lot of people, influencers, who were pushing the idea that an artist only should mint a certain amount at a specific time, and because what's important here is the scarcity and rarity to that art, to the collector. And I was really railing against this because as an artist, you create all the time. I have things that never make the light of day. So art is not scarce to me. It's not rare. It's available. It's all around me. So the idea that a collector would go ahead and tell me what I should and shouldn't do was really frustrating. I love the idea of one-of-one art, but you shouldn't tell me how many days a week I should mint. Like, with all due respect, go fuck yourself. And so really the People's Potato was a response to that. It was saying, you know what, you're gonna complain about rarity. You're gonna complain about, at the time, 1155 was kind of new, ERC 1155, and Rarible had just introduced it, and they were talking about this is the end of the one-of-one NFT, like really dramatic stuff, right? And so I decided I'm going to mint 1 billion of these photo mosh potatoes, and just use that as my response to the idea of scarcity and rarity being an important aspect to art collection. Really, that idea of scarcity and rarity was pulled from DeFi tokenomics, which I don't think 100% applies to the art world. So there was that was what was happening. And then eventually it evolved into what was called Tater Tech. And Tater Tech is the idea of using social liquidity mining. I know if I'm getting too deep, you just let me know.
No, I love it.
So social liquidity mining was the idea that I'm going to take the People's Potato, attach it to a social token, and every time you shared it with a friend, you earned a percentage of that social token in return for sharing the People's Potato. And the whole idea was the People's Potato was it was super cheap, so it's 0.001 ETH. We're talking maybe 4 cents. It was what it was at the time. Now it's like 25 cents or maybe 30 cents, but it was super cheap. So the idea was you can collect, thousands of these and then share them and onboard your friends. And the whole concept was breaking down the barrier to entry for new people coming into the space by saying, one, you don't have to sell an artwork for thousands of dollars to make money in the space. Two, anybody can come into the space, and the way you could do that is your friend can share you a very cheap artwork to bring you into the space. And that's what Tater Tech and social liquidity mining was built around. I would say the project itself wasn't a failure. It was an experiment, but it just hadn't evolved anywhere past when I think we proved the concept that you could, and this is before DeFi was really getting into NFTs. So we're talking early 2020. We're not talking about, I don't even think we were talking about, earning rewards with NFTs yet. And that's what this project, the Tater Tech project, was bringing into the space.
That's really awesome. And it was way ahead of its time, because even like the people who maybe did it like first in a way that people were engaging with, like Jordan with the meme project and stuff like that. He came on here like the week he launched meme kind of by accident and all that. And nobody yet, a few of us, like Adele that's in the community chat right now, and Jordan, who came on, what you're talking about, there are very few people going like, what if we stake the NFTs, or what if we reward people? And and really it's a good sort of segue to Shiv, what you're doing, because I think you're trying to bring these social tokens and these reward tokens and rewards and engagement that you can only do in crypto to more mainstream people, right? Like we're using your platform, and one of the reasons why I like the idea of using your platform for blockchain booze is because we've become such a tight-knit community. And then like I want to start rewarding the people. I actually have, by the way, for everyone listening, I know the exact, since we switched to this system that we're on now, Remo, which is like a month or two into blockchain and booze, I know the exact minutes each person has been logged into the system hanging out with us on blockchain and booze. So there may be some rewards coming to those people based on how long they've been in the system and how long they've participated. Maybe even the people that ask the question will be receiving something. And I'll probably be using Moonwalk, Shiv's company, to do it, which is why, by the way, this week we launched a Discord. We just started telling people about it. So right now it'll just be a few of us in the community in that Discord. So jump in. It's going to be fun. Yeah, Crispin, I see you in the chat. Adele, I see you in the chat. You guys are definitely both in the top, 15 or so. It's pretty great. So Shiv, tell us a little more about your system, and I think we all get rewards and all these things. But how do you plan to bring it to maybe more mainstream people? I think Block Party, you got some musicians and people like that to use it.
Yeah.
How are you?
We started with. I started with this deal with the Sacramento Kings a while ago. We created a social token for them, maybe 2019, and the goal was to have this reward token that you could use around the city of Sacramento. And hit a roadblock just because their entire tech team changed, and everything didn't really continue on after that. But we set up Moonwalk to do kind of the same thing, initially with social tokens. And then we realized, well, what about these collections? Why don't we have collections as the way to unlock the community in the same way that is happening now? And then use the tokens as an additional overlay where you can earn and spend the token throughout the community, and then have a wallet in the middle where you can have, connect to MetaMask, you can have your wallet enabling the unlock of experiences like a private virtual stream, watching Alan play guitar. For example, if you own the blockchain and booze
I don't play guitar publicly, but I know this dude named Punk Ape Strong that's really into it, so he might be doing that soon.
I heard about that guy. Seen that guy all over Twitter.
I heard Boredbecky and him are going to do a world tour of every crypto conference there ever will be. So just saying.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. And so the goal with having a SaaS platform that does NFT generative collections is not really so that we get another million NFT generative collections. It's more that why is the system so geared towards smart contract developers, and why can't we have one artist creating 1,000 unit collections just by creating some rarity with their own design? So we had, I don't know if you guys know Dan Pan. He's a influence in the space. He came on, launched his own collection. Am I cutting out a little bit? I think my connection's a little weak today.
No, you're looking good. It might be me.
Oh, okay. So I had Dan Pan come in. He created 10,000 of his own, some skies, some clouds, and different sort of things that he wanted to do. He just came in, logged in, downloaded attributes, clicked mint, set the items, uploaded the items to IPFS, created a contract, and then sold them. And it was just, he didn't need to have a smart contract developer. He didn't need to have, anything. And now he can enable his whole community to unlock different things that he wants to do, with that wallet. So
is that his Skies collection? Sorry. Is that his Skies collection?
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm friendly with Daniel, so I'm aware of the collection, but I didn't know that it was your product that was behind it. So I will check that out.
Yeah, please do. It's
I will say, Eric, I've been using it for the last few days, and it's a little too easy. There's going to be this, like Shiv said, it's going to be a little slippery slope. You're going to have to guard it a little bit, Shiv, so we don't get any really crappy projects. But I'm using it for Boring Stone right now. And by the way, a Reaper NFT, who's a part of the community, has been making a lot of really epic special art for it. And I've been doing there's going to be some Easter eggs, some cool stuff. Like if you're in the Super World community, you'll notice some weird Easter eggs. If you're in the Fame Lady Squad community, there's going to be some cool stuff. And I'm going to talk to Becky about that in a minute. but like there's all sorts of little Easter eggs we're throwing in. So there's a few days too with community members. If you have ideas, hit me up. And we're gonna crowdsource one part of it also. So pay attention on Twitter and stuff like that. I'll probably email everyone but yeah, sorry, Shiv. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's really the extent of it. It's not that complicated. It starts with collections. It has a wallet in the middle, and then you end up with earn and spend social tokens that eventually will end up in POS. So you can have the fun part at the front with the NFTs, and then eventually, for big brands, if we're dealing with them, they can, work with sponsors and have last mile payment interactions. So it's kind of
if Sailor Gary Brewery decides, or not brewery, but distillery decides to take, like blockchain booze tokens as payment, we could work something like that out here through your system.
100%. Or if Fame Lady Squad has a deal with, Glossier, and you can have Glossier, lipstick, in discounts with Fame Lady Squad, we could execute that. Actually, I've got some Fame Lady Squad, so I've got I'm ready. I'm ready for all that.
You're ready. You're ready. Well, we're all so. Let's jump to Ashley. I think a lot of us are Fame Lady Squad holders. My daughter included. She's a huge fan of yours. So I'd love to hear what's new, and I think you guys are working on some new things. And just to throw out there, the boring stone drop that I keep talking about, this one, you can see my daughter's Fame Lady, Frankie Fame, is right front and center on some of those. She named her, so we're definitely, yes, there John Dorfman's back there reminding me, we're gonna call October Blocktoberfest. So every week in October, we're gonna have some awesome stuff, and I hope to have Fame Lady Squad back, because I think you're doing something in October. And by the way, I think we're locking down the details, but 10% of the proceeds from the Boring Stone Drop are gonna go to support Fame Lady Squad and support Ashley and Danielle and the whole crew who took over a project without any money in it, which is kind of messed up. Yeah. Every other project, just to set the stage, every project that gets out there in these thousands of wallets has a budget, because by default, if they're in thousands of wallets, they have a budget. But they took over basically a scam, or at least a shady beginning project, without having a budget, which really sucks. And because they've supported us and come on, and we've seen what they did on Blockchain and Booze, and they've become my daughter's heroes for saving her awesome NFTs. We want to support them, so that's going to be a part of the Boring Stone Drop. But I know you have something bigger planned for later in the month of October, right?
We have a bunch of stuff going on, and it's an evolution, right? So I think we definitely had to find our footing over the last month, figure out like what's our initial strategy, what are some low-hanging fruit things, what does the community want to see that's feasible, all that stuff. And before I get into some of the things we're working on, we did this past week, we were offered 5% of the proceeds of the sales from Boss Beauty's NFT that just dropped, cool. And they sold out. So they just delivered us about just shy of 40 Ethereum, which may
Holy crap. That's amazing.
I know. And it's so exciting. And, the founder over at Boss Beauties, her and I had met and chatted, and this was a huge surprise for us. So that wasn't on our radar a week ago. So it does open up some doors, and we don't want to discourage other people who want to give to our community, because we do still need the help. So, but it's.
Hey, are we pricing ours too little? Because I'm trying to do the math in my head. I think that the current Reaper and Jason the Ape, the Hustle House, by the way, is also involved. And they were trying to price it at a cool. I think it was going to be 0.03 ETH. Is that a good price for a drop? Is that too little? Because it sounds like if I do the math at 5%, 40 ETH, they sold theirs for a lot more.
I think they were 0.08, and they did a really good job. I mean, we didn't know what to expect. expect, right? Like all these projects are dropping all the time, and I will shout them out. Like their art is being featured in the New York Stock Exchange, which is very cool. Like in the gallery, like not like in the exchange, but you know, they're representing women and helping support women in their careers, etc. So it makes sense in entrepreneurship and all of those good things. So we're so appreciative, and I mention it because obviously we have gratitude, but also it's going to change our next couple of months and what we can do. So because up until this point we are volunteer. You know, eventually we will pay ourselves something. But you know, we've been looking at, you know, we needed to hire an artist for a project. Like we're doing a drop to replace one of the crappy drops the previous team had done. We're exploring utility. We are launching a podcast, which is like a big part of our roadmap, and we're very, very excited. That's about really empowering, onboarding women into the NFT space, and probably a bit beyond some of the things people have been thinking about this past summer. But, you know, bringing in, you know, C-suite executive leaders across, you know, a variety of locations who are thinking about how do I start considering blockchain and smart contract technology into my business, strategy, etc. And just a creative voice for women. This is a very inclusive community. We have men in our community who have just been rock stars, who frankly we would not be here without the men in our community at this point. So, and I apologize, my window's open and I'm downtown and you're about to hear a siren go by. But anyways, we're very excited about that because I think it's going to really help us lean in hard to our mission. We have folks who are helping us launch that and distribute it, so it's very professionally done and consistently done and not like ad hoc. Something that you hopefully will be very meaningful in the space over time. We are sponsoring NFT NYC, so we're going to be there. We're going to have some sort of meetup. We're going to be connecting with a bunch of people. And, you know, we're going to be launching some merch, which is exciting. So a lot of the things that we were planning for the fall was really keeping in mind our limited resources. And now as we're building out and we're seeing some success with like our by the way, everybody, like the entry point in terms of price for Fame Lady Squad is still pretty accessible for anyone who's already in the NFT space. And that being said, our number of holders are growing pretty steadily, which is very, very nice to see. We'll talk probably, I'm sure, a bit about community moving forward. But I think we're kind of at a place now where we can start strategizing a bit more for like what's the beginning of 2022 going to look like and what are some really cool things. Because you might be alluding to some stuff we haven't chatted about that I've maybe mentioned to you that we're exploring. But
well, I think that the community was saying things. So because you've mentioned a few times that you want to do some kind of something to replace a previous drop. So
we do, we're doing a drop. The previous team launched these dropped these crowns. Like I mean, what happened this summer? Everyone dropped like a 10,000-ish project, and then immediately everybody wanted like some new token to go, like new NFT to go with the NFT they just got, right? And the original team behind Fame Lady Squad did these crowns. So they did follow through. They delivered. The art was, people were not pleased. It didn't quite match. It didn't make sense. It wasn't really the fit. So we do have some wings. The community voted early on in our takeover, if you want to call it that. We had a community town hall. We put forward a few options that considered like what are some things that we can do? And one of them was giving everyone the option to burn their stupid crowns and get some wings. And wings, because for the period of time when we were figuring out what it would mean to revive this community, before we even had the smart contract, we were calling ourselves Project Phoenix for what now seems like forever ago, for maybe a week. But the whole idea of rising from the ashes, all of that stuff is very symbolic for our community. And we found a female artist who's awesome, who's really put together some cool stuff. So we've seen kind of where it is in the works. Hopefully we'll be able to announce a date for these. And I think it's just going to be a fun kind of celebration of burning those freaking crowns. Really feeling like we're moving forward, and then adding some utility, which I'm not really able to comment on right yet. But you know, what are our ladies going to be able to do?
By the way, do you guys have the ownership of the crown contract also?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would assume there's going to be some people buying and selling the crowns in anticipation. There might be people who, like, I'm thinking right now, do I keep some of the crowns because will they get scarce? And then there's like this collector's thing. Although I bet you what'll happen, because the famed Lady Squad NFTs that I own belong to my daughter. So she'll make the decision, and I'm sure she'll love the wings way better. So she'll want to burn them all.
I think there'll be a mix. There'll be a mix for sure, and whatever's left over we'll be able to potentially sell. So that lends us a little bit of a hand as well. So.
Oh, like maybe you do it timing wise, like there's 10,000 or so, or whatever the number
well,
is.
we have 8,888 ladies. So I believe the plan, we're gonna have 8,888 wings. Those who burn will get their free wings, and those who don't, and some people may not be paying attention. Like there's obviously those folks out there too, right? So
I did that with another project recently. I went to go do something like a week too late, and it was too late.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But we're really excited, and the community's just coming together, and everyone's just like, we've got some real solid people that I think we're gonna have for life, which has just been really cool.
It's so cool to hear about, you know, how you guys are thinking about utility and what's going to drive the community. Not just, I mean, and every project is doing it, but to some degree, like the merchandise and things, but to really do things that just continually build and have momentum and grow, and then some secret things that no one knows about that'll keep the appetite wet. I think it's cool. It's not easy. I mean, we've got the platform that just creates them, but you know, beyond the drop, there's a lot of stuff you can do, and it's very it's not that intuitive. People have to
I've actually got a thought for you guys, and I'd love your opinion. Like, it's not every day I get to just like have a hang session with people who are way smarter than me with this stuff. So I'll get you guys' thoughts on this, and I apologize for bringing it towards the selfish angle and bringing up the drop again. But what we were thinking about doing was doing the boring stone drop, getting people some special access, like maybe to private rooms in the Blockchain Booze Discord. And then when we do our private events and stuff like that, like LA Blockchain Summit and all the rest of the stuff we do, we'll have like special meetups, different things. And there's a lot of cool, just random stuff we have planned and ideas for people who hold the original sort of Genesis one. But what I was going to do as a separate drop was give all of the top participants from Blockchain and Booze over the last 2 years I'll let it out, doesn't matter, because all of you guys will be the ones that help me organize it anyway. I'm talking to the people in the chats. Is a Punk Ape Strong backstage pass, which will get you the same thing and maybe a little more because you've been participating for the last 2 years. And I'm wondering though, is it just better to like maybe pre-mine or pre-mint like a couple hundred or 300 of the boring stones and give those, or do the separate Punk Ape Strong backstage pass airdrop just to the top people in the Blockchain Boost community? Like, what do you guys think?
I can answer here.
I mean, you don't. I mean, you probably know.
No, go ahead, Shiv. Shiv?
You guys are being too polite. I think Shiv's connection's a little slow, so he's catching up like 30 seconds behind us.
So, I mean, I like the idea of the separate and gaining access, but there is something kind of cool to getting early access to the board, to the magazine. I think it depends on how you're thinking about future utility of each token. So one of the companies I think that's out there that's doing really good job of merging both the metaverse, the real world, as well as gaming and all of that kind of stuff is Rhodes Society of Players. Full disclosure, I'm actively involved in that community and have quite a few cards. So I don't want this to seem like a shill. I don't really invest in projects that I don't have an emotional connection to, or that I see something. So, but they do a really great job of engaging the community through their Discord, all through gaining access through the original collection itself. And then the original collection is built out into tiers, so you can, it's basically, the original collection is basically a card set, so you can collect a royal flush, 4 of a kind, and there are all these different tiers built into it. So I think they do a really.
Were these originally dropped also as airdrops? Because I do have a couple that look like cards, like in my wallet, or maybe I participated in something and got it. Now I'm gonna.
There are a couple that are out there. I don't think that these were originally dropped as airdrops, though.
Okay, say the name of the community again, just so that everybody can.
Sure. And I talk a little fast, so you could slow me down. Royal Society of Players is, yeah, and they recently just dropped Royal Society chips as a secondary drop, sort of the Bored Ape model, right? Everything we're doing now is built on the model that the Bored Apes really introduced in the space in early April 2021. So they've really just done some amazing work there.
Yeah, they really do continue to set the standard, and I love just watching how they work. Like I have been having DMs with Gordon and various people in that team, and they're just really humble people who just come up with really cool shit. So
they're just starting to get into IRL stuff, right?
Yeah, they've got different. I mean, you saw Roadmap 2.0. Really interesting stuff that they're trying to do, and eventually there's a lot more meetups and things that will happen in the future. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys are, but still part of the community, and I just keep holding on to see what I can be a part of in that ape community. But I missed out on Royal Society Players. I don't know if it's still cheap enough for me to get in, but I'd love to see. It's good to hear cool stuff.
I think the floor is 0.18. It's not anywhere near apes. I think it's a long haul sort of investment, I would say. I missed out on apes because at the time when these collections were really being, to me, everything was art focused. So I was looking at the art and I was like, it looks cartoony. It's not really like what I'm into. I'm an artist. I am too highbrow for this cartoony stuff, all that kind of. I totally missed that. And punks too. I looked at punks when they were half an ETH, quarter of an ETH. Yeah. And the whole time they're going up, I'm like, I don't like it visually. I don't like it. And I didn't really get the mindset of sort of the cultural significance. And the cultural significance for me was really heavily focused on what the artists were doing, because that was like proof of concept that this would work at scale. And then the collections came after that. And so I was still stuck in the mindset of like, oh, it's not art. And wrongfully so, because there are some really amazing projects that are doing really great things out there. World of Women, the Fame Lady Takeover, the, Gary V who I think really pushed the boundary on how to integrate sort of what he's good at, which is, giving access to himself and IRL events and things of that nature. And now we're starting to see that, permeate all the other projects going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that I've been participating in these things, but I bought NFTs, a few years ago. But in my opinion, it was like, honestly, the only person who was kind of doing it right a few years ago, to give him massive credit, because I love this man as much as I think some of my friends might discount him because he's such a goofball, is Ken Bozak. Ken Bozak did a support badge.
Legend.
He did a support badge NFT that I bought for like $4.20 like 4 years ago from him. Like I didn't know how to display an NFT when I bought it. He taught, basically by buying it, I had to learn what an NFT was. And then I remember showing Joseph, my partner, NFTs minting on an airplane sitting next to Joseph an NFT from my phone using Mintable at the time. And I remember like just mind blown that I was able to do it, right? Like it was not without, you know, extra hurdles, but it was epic, right? But nobody did it in the sort of community engagement ways they're doing it today, right? I only bought NFTs that were just cool artists trying something new, and I went, wow, I like that art. Nothing I could ever do myself, so I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was at first. It was, you know, cool pictures we could buy.
And I was with you in kind of discounting some of them just because it was like I didn't get the community part of the NFT. I just was like, that art's not my thing. So, you know,
it wasn't until I started to see the influence that the punk community was having, because they had that Discord, and their Discord, if you had a punk in your profile, you had like, I don't want to call it access, but it was access to a certain level, certain community, certain level of like respect. And they just started, you know, influencing and driving conversations and influencing what projects were, you know, like Hashmask was introduced in the punks. The punks Discord, and it took off from there because they got behind it. So like,
and that one is maybe not as appreciated today compared to some of the others, even though the complexity and what they did and the different layers and the craziness and how kind of nerdy and awesome Hashmasks is
maybe too nerdy.
maybe too obscure, but it was insane. Like where people found those Easter eggs, like they took the backgrounds, they like ran them through processors and realized that like they had code in like, or like, you know, like it was just crazy stuff that like, it was every week there'd be some mind-blowing tweet where I'd be looking at it, trying to understand how the person even figured out the like Easter egg in the background of the Hashmask.
Yeah, it doesn't get the respect it deserves. It also launched after, right before, you know, Apes.
Yeah.
And Apes just took over profile pictures and the community and the excitement, and you know, it was, I don't want to say like better art, but Apes was more engaging art.
Yeah. Well, also there is something in all of technology and consumer software and things like that, but there's constantly this push and pull between simplicity and utility and you know, like think about our favorite products today don't have all the bells and whistles that maybe they would have had 10 years ago. I joked with somebody in the ape community about MySpace because they said something about MySpace, and I actually used to work at MySpace, and it was so funny, but there was this moment in time where everybody loved how customizable MySpace was, and you could let your freak flag fly, and everyone could have their different page, and everyone learned a little bit of CSS and HTML. But then Facebook came around, and psychologically, I think that we all actually want a level playing field where we can be judged by, you know, the on the same level, right? And I think that that's part of what made Facebook better. It made Facebook better because it was just simple, easy to use, and everyone had the same page. Now it's gotten, you know, become what it is today. But you know, I think there's an edginess. Hashmask might have all these crazy things, but to the average person, they just like doesn't look as cool as my ape. You know,
well, there's a level of accessibility, right? That's what I think Facebook gave, was a level playing field to accessibility. Because if you didn't have a cool page in MySpace, that was your profile picture, right? Your profile picture was your entire page. Could you learn to embed audio, video, slideshows? Here are all these hacks.
Automatic, right? Like it play music, I could play something loud and aggressive and offensive when somebody came to my page, right? Like, that was on purpose. My cube and MySpace kind of looked like a MySpace profile, by the way. I put the most offensive punk rock flyers up in my cubicle because I thought, like, one, I wanted to see if anyone would say anything to me, and then two, I was like, that was like the part of the culture, right? Like it was literally like I purposely went and found and printed like the most offensive ones just to see if anyone there would like say anything. But it was just part of the culture. It's kind of insane to think about now, and I'd be a bit embarrassed by it today probably, just thinking about some of the things, but it's kind of fun. But you know,
what do you guys think? I mean, the question for you guys, because I mean, everyone's sort of creating and doing new things in the, you know, in the generative kind of space or evangelizing things that are already out there. The question that always comes up when a new data comes onto our platform, because it's easy to generate, is how do you choose what are those things like the potatoes? I mean, who would have thought potatoes would kick off? I mean, I remember another person in the space was like, I'm going to do potatoes. I'm going to do potatoes. And potatoes magically came out, and no longer he's not going to do potatoes anymore. But there's certain things that take off, that click, like Fame Ladies, because they were just attractive, but interesting and unique. First kind of women-oriented project. I don't know. Are there certain things that you find that click, or do you think it's just a bunch of background marketing, like maybe Pudgy Penguins, and a lot of marketing work with people who are associated with the crypto punks, and it ends up in that Discord and they'll market squiggles? I mean, what are those key drivers that make things work? Is a big thing that I think about.
I have lots of opinions, but I'd like to hear from Ashley because I could be overbearing.
That's okay. I mean, I can only share my perspective, and more so as someone who's now been involved in this project, and then me as a fairly new collector still in the space, right? So the reason I got into Fame Lady Squad was very similar to the reason I bought my ape. The difference was I didn't mint my ape, I minted my Fame Ladies. And that was also around the IP. And so for someone like me, I was very interested in the commercial use of the, that's why I bought my apes. I thought, you know what, this is kind of fucking cool. Like, I think I can do something with this. And whether that's big scale, small scale, I thought I could probably do something fun with this, even if it's just me putting together my first stupid Etsy account or something and doing some merch, right? And I thought the same thing with Fame Lady Squad. I just thought there's versatility and the storyline you could create, and there's a difference between, I think, where you're betting on something from day one versus watching it from the outside for a month or two or even a few weeks and just seeing what's the buy-in, what are people, are people really into this or not, and so I think some art is more better suited to be appreciated and you like it versus you think you can use it. That's for me is the total layman's noob looking at stuff. From that perspective, when I'm looking at stuff, I'm kind of can you use it? And I think one of the areas that I haven't really spent much time in, but I feel like some others have, and there's still all the day trading crap. Sorry, I shouldn't say crap. There's all there's people buy and sell and their success for different reasons, right? But a lot of people are well, I'm buying anything that's cute. And people are doing really well buying shit that's cute. And it's, maybe there's something there that people can do. Or maybe there's some potential and people are just imagining what could be. That's just I feel like that's my observation, is people are all trying to create what they think these NFTs might mean. Whereas I love World of Women as an example. And I think that, and I own World of Women, and I've seen some beautiful derivatives. I'm curious to see where a community like World of Women goes versus, say, a community like Fame Lady Squad goes, just in terms of how the art is interpreted and used. And because for me, I see World of Women as I want to print it, I want to put it on my wall, I really like it. I feel like I can make Fame Lady Squad. I'm not trying to say one's better than the other. It's more just how am I thinking about these things? One, I think I could make into a comic book and do something really rad with it. And so I think it depends on how the evolution of the holders in the NFT space come about too. Who's buying, why are they buying? And it has to go kind of beyond the day trading stuff too, because that has its own place. Are people appreciate it? And now, I've always enjoyed art. I have an artistic spirit. I love music, as everyone knows, right? But I've never been a buyer of expensive art, right? And now I'm inclined to start buying stuff that, where I don't know that I would have done that otherwise. And those are things that I'll probably just want to keep and hang on to. And I'm sorry I'm rambling a bit, but I do think beyond all of this is also what does it mean? What are you stating to the world by owning it? What's the statement you're making? And
what 1000%. I'm also wondering, with you know, like I can come up with things in relation to my day job and my business, and somehow, like, I do say this to people in our space all the time. Like I ask them if this is real life, because sometimes it's like somehow I've found making these NFTs and goofing around and doing this show my actual day job. But like I can kind of connect NFTs or community engagement to that as, like, you know, our conference business, and mostly our conference is all about investing in the cool companies and people we find. We don't really make money doing a free conference for everyone in the world, right? But the whole point, like, what I was getting at is I can figure out how it connects to my business. But like for some of these groups that are doing like Fame Lady Squad sort of from scratch, right? Or Bored Apes from scratch, right? Like, where do you think the future is going to go? Do you think that it's gonna get more into the real life world, right? Like kind of like, you know, you're talking about meeting up with everyone in New York. Like if Fame Lady Squad became the biggest, most successful NFT campaign in the world, or Eric, some of these other ones that you're talking about, or Shiv, some of these ones that you power, what's next, right? Is it going to bridge the gap into the real world? Is it going to bridge the gap into the metaverse, or maybe it depends on the project? And I'm just trying to think, like, what's next, right? Like, where do we take it next?
So I think
yeah,
okay,
go ahead. You got it.
So I think I like to first take a look at it holistically in terms of where we are in the current state of things. And I think it was about a month or two ago where the entire Bloomberg had estimated that there are about 40,000 monthly active wallets. We know that many of us own more than one wallet. So I conservatively estimate that the community size is about 27,000 monthly active users. That's really fucking small.
Yeah.
You know, but it's significantly larger than it was when I was here in 2019.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 10, 15, 20x.
Well, the data says that the space, at least 33x more people are talking about crypto on the internet today than we're talking about it online during the time of our last in-person conference, which is not last year, but the year before. Less than 2 years, about 33x the number of people talking about crypto. So probably means about 33x the community has grown in those 2 years you're talking about.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then so when I think about that, it's like we're so early, right? So the future is great to think about, and where I think the future is going to go is more IRL related AR. You know, I don't think we're going into a Ready Player One experience. I think AR surpasses VR eventually at some point, and that's the Ready Player One world we live in. And then, you know, VR is sort of where we are, and go into space to extend our reality. But I think in the short term, where we go is people want to say gaming, and I think that's smart, right? It's an easily accessible connection to make there. But I think real estate and then products is like high value products, cars and things of that nature is actually where the next utility innovation will come from NFTs.
What about, so I was thinking about real estate. I think about real estate a lot in relation to it, because I actually had a call earlier today with Rish. He's the founder of Superworld, and they basically made an NFT, like 21 billion NFTs for every square block in the world, basically, right? And I, not so famously, because maybe only the people on Blockchain and Booze know about this, I constantly tweet about going on hikes in my Superworld land, because I bought the hiking trails by my house, and it's like this silly thing that I do, right? But I think about that because it's like, that's a real estate innovation, right? Like, imagine I own, for example, the West Hall. That's the lobby area of the LA Convention Center, where we have our normal entrance for the LA Blockchain Summit, right? And one day that's going to be an NFT gallery during our conferences for AR, right? And that's the reason why I bought it. And I'm going to actually do an AR gallery on my hiking trails, which will be kind of funny because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of leaving the house and going on a hike. But that's beside the point. But I think that, like, what about like these collectibles and things like that over things like this? Like, we could probably find a friend, maybe somebody in the chat today, that can make a very simple webcam software filter for us that lets us display the lets us display our NFTs, collectibles, right? Like, I got my Lunar Crush hat always on display behind my desk, right? And I always wear it. But what if I had super cool glasses or a hat or something like that I only could buy as an NFT, and it's now, and it makes me a part of this new community that I really want to be a part of. I want to wear that in a Zoom call, but I also want to wear it in a Google Hangouts call. And this thing happens to be in a different system, so I want to wear it for that too. So you need some kind of webcam plugin or something that lets you display NFTs that you own. And taking that so many steps further, maybe it's the color of a car, like in the future where you can change colors, or the building that you're in, I don't know, can display something. I don't know. I'm taking it multiple steps, but
I was explaining to my 8-year-old nephew what I did, and I said, "Listen, he's big into Fortnite and Roblox," and I said, "Imagine an NBA 2K," and I said, "Imagine one day that you can take a skin from Fortnite and put it on LeBron James NBA 2K. That's the world I'm living in. That's the world I'm trying to work in and develop." And he asked me every day, "Did you develop that? Did you develop that yet? Can I put my Fortnite skin on LeBron yet?" And I'm like, "No, buddy, not yet. We're not there quite yet." But like, that's the power and that's sort of what you're talking about, Alon, is like, I own this NFT. I plug it into this webcam filter, and this webcam filter allows me to use my NFT hat into every experience that I have, and it looks like a real hat because we could do things really, really well and show like it fits my head and all that kind of great stuff. And I think that's an important aspect, and that's an addendum to the world that we're living in on Twitter, which is this profile picture pride and like personality that's coming out of owning our NFTs now.
I think the beginning is the beginning where you have the profile pictures. I think it's still going to be front and center, because what we were talking about 3 years ago was digital identity. Digital blockchain is digital identity. I mean, what is digital identity now? It's your ape or your punk or your op punk. I mean, it's really now becoming the front face of how you interact in the world. And now that most of us are sitting at home, except Becky's in a hotel, I mean, most of us are sitting at home nowadays. The only thing that we have to represent ourselves digitally, our digital identity, are these profile pictures. I mean, I know you guys, by your profile pics, and now meeting you for the first time,
I think I finally identify with some of my friends who like had cool cars that they like, really, it was like part of their identity, where on the weekends I'd make fun of them as a punk rocker, but like they'd be out there washing their car and I'd be like, but really, like, it's very similar, like, or I never was into watches. Like, it's just not the right age, and it's just not my thing. So, but I kind of get now why some of my friends were like super stoked on that watch they got, or super excited on the car that they got, and all that stuff, because it is an extension of their identity to their community, right? To the community that means something to them, and that's very similar to what we're doing here, right? Like,
I met G Money the other day at a conference, and I was like, he goes, "I'm G Money," and I'm like, "The ape," and we had this whole conversation around. I didn't meet him because he was like, it was just a funny conversation, because he was, I referred to him as an ape, but he was just this guy standing in front of me, like, and the same thing, when I meet people like you guys, and I'm like, oh, how do I represent you in my head? It's as these PFPs. So I think that's front and center, and I think it'll always be front and center. All these utility things will come out over time.
I'm having merch made for NFT NYC that has my profile picture on it, so people can make the connection. I think that's because that's how people see us, right? On Clubhouse, on Twitter, on Discord. I'm the icon, unofficial punk #0.
The amount of money people spend on conferences, here's something we should do for the next LA Blockchain Summit or something like that. What if we could literally make the badge on like a little small tablet display, and the badge is a tablet and your profile picture would be on it. And then all of a sudden, like you can see the person, but like it wouldn't be that hard. It would be a little bit tough with batteries and things like that. It might be a little heavy around our necks or something, but like it might be a cool thing. Or maybe e-ink displays at a certain point could do that, right?
It's a lot more recognizable than trying to look at a person's name, right? We
totally.
see images and recognize images faster than we do reading a sentence.
Becky, I think you were saying something and then we went on a tangent.
That's okay. No, I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit because I see what everyone's saying and I fully agree. But there, you know, let's just there's a version of where this all fits in our nerdy little world, and then there's probably a space for many of us where this doesn't fit, right? Like, for example, there's a reason I'm Boredbecky on Twitter because my professional like existence online does not have an ape on it, at least not yet, right? Like, it very well may. And I'm feeling a little bit cooler nowadays where I'm sitting, like I'm at a conference right now and I am in real estate and I sit on boards, etc. So I'm actually really super excited to be able to be like, pretend like I'm some sort of blockchain expert while we're all talking about disruption. Yeah, so, but like, so it's now seeping into some people's worlds in terms of like, even understanding that NFTs fucking exist. Right? Like, what's an NFT? What is that again? And like every once in a while, someone kind of has heard of it and I'm so excited, right? And so, you know, I'm still figuring out where it all works. And that's what, like, I do think there's going to, depending who you are, what your objective is, depending your project, what the project's objective is, I think it's going to go both ways. Some projects are going to really lean heavily into like the metaverse, etc., all that stuff. And people are going to be able to do what they do together, whether it's meeting virtually or gaming or all those things. And then there's the other side where you're going to like, you're really building a brand that's going out and people start learning about, they may never own an NFT ever. They probably will at some point not know that's what it is. But they're more like, I think the apes are emerging into this place where it's like becoming a brand, and some people may never know that it stemmed from NFTs. Like they might just recognize, like if Netflix decided or someone decided to do some sort of kick-ass show about Bored Apes, it's very likely that a ton of people would never know that they're non-fungible tokens, right? Like